This podcast is powered by Masterpiece Kingdom Brands. This episode is made possible by OhNothingNonprofit.org. In today's episode, we are going to talk about starting and growing a business in a new season and in a new country. If you're in a new and unfamiliar season and you're seeking for direction, this episode is for you. Joining us today is the founder and CEO of ServUCare, a commercial cleaning company based in Hertfordshire, England. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Dane Upton.
Thanks, Norbert.
Hi, Dane. How did you like my introduction?
It was good. It was good. I thought you struggled with the pronunciation of Hertfordshire, but it was better than the first one.
Okay, but how do you actually pronounce it?
It's Hertfordshire. So instead of Hertfordshire, it's Hertfordshire. Don't worry, I struggled, myself and Cherie struggled at the beginning with it because it looks like it says Hertfordshire, but I don't know, for some reason they pronounce it Hertfordshire. So well done, you were close.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Okay, Dane, for those who are new to our show and who just joined us, I met Dane Upton in Cape Town, South Africa, way back years ago, and he's now based in England. And what an incredible story it has been. So I know it's a long story, but if you can quickly summarize your journey and how you moved your entire family from Cape Town to England and how you decided to build a business in new territories.
Yeah. Like you said, it's quite a long story, but basically, we immigrated over from Cape Town. We immigrated over in 2019. I arrived 4 months before the rest of my family. So I was here by myself. I came over here and I was kind of doing the same work I was doing back in Cape Town, which was electrical wholesaling. So I came over here, did the same kind of work for the first year I was here. And just in that first year, I just got really sort of restless just about what I was doing in life. I would travel on the train in and out to work every day. And so I had a lot of time to think pretty much. God really started just working on my heart. You know, I'd never thought of becoming an entrepreneur or starting a business beforehand. But really in that year, my first year I was here, God, it just really made me kind of restless in what I was doing. I just felt this nagging desire to do something else. The big thing for me was I wanted to look back over my life and say I gave my life to something, some sort of kingdom purpose, some sort of kingdom impact. You know, I didn't want to get to age 60, 65 and look back and say, oh, why didn't I just give something a shot? So really, it was a strong sort of feeling that I just felt God saying, I need to do something. I need to give something a try at least. And I just thought, I was in a new country and I just thought everything's new at the moment. So why not give this a shot while you can, before you get too settled, before you get too involved with the everyday and ways of life out here. So I kind of made a decision in my heart to start something. I had no idea really what it was going to look like. And from there, God just started opening up sort of visions or things that I wanted to do. But it was mainly just driven from a sense of just being discontent with just living my life 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. And I really felt that I wanted to give my life to something. Call it a midlife crisis, I don't know, but I just felt that God was really calling me to just step out and do something different. And I just couldn't sort of overcome that desire, really. So basically, I've got a younger brother. He's back in South Africa and he's got mental challenges, Down syndrome and so on. And he started working for an organization in Cape Town where they kind of do repetitive work, sticking labels on bottles or that type of thing, just repetitive kind of stuff. But through that work environment, it just gave him so much more in life. I mean, he's got a friendship group and on this WhatsApp group. And it just gave him something more to do, every day. And instead of just sitting at home and so on. So it really added a lot to his life. And that's kind of that setup. I really liked that and it really encouraged me. So my first thought was I'd really like to do something like that. But obviously doing something like that over a year, not knowing how the systems and things was quite tricky. So not being able to set up that exact system, I thought, okay, well, what can I do? So I immediately thought the easiest thing for me to start up would be some sort of property maintenance kind of company where I would have garden maintenance division, and then I'd have a third division. I wasn't sure what it would be. And then in each division, each van would have a qualified technician and driver, and then you would have someone as a helper, someone that's got mental disabilities and that sort of thing. But the more I looked into that in the UK, it's quite hard with health and safety. You obviously need certain qualifications and all this type of thing. By this time, I had the business had already started going. So
yeah, just so that it's clear, I wanted to ask why you entered the cleaning business, and you explained that it was because of your picture in your head inspired by your brother. Is that correct?
That's exactly it. Yeah. I obviously wanted to start I would have loved to have started the exact same facility that he works for. But obviously to do that, you need staff, you need qualifications, you need to know what you're doing. So the next step for me was, well, how can I do something that I could do and involve individuals like my brother? But obviously that first thought that I have also wouldn't work out because of the safeguarding and health and safety rules in the UK and so on. With that in mind, the business had already started going, and the cleaning side of ServUCare had already started going, and it was kind of just it started going and it was just snowballing. And so, yeah, I was sort of well into it already. So I thought, obviously, if I can't do that, then what I wanted to do was at least then give a percentage of the profits that ServUCare makes to companies that are already set up and established in doing what I wanted to do. So we've got a few in Hertfordshire that work with individuals like my brother, which we partner with and we give a percentage of our profits to. They're just already set up doing it. You know, they know what they're doing. They're good at what they do. And so that sort of sorted itself out, you know. And obviously I had ideas of how I wanted to do, but obviously God had a much better picture in his mind. And it's just worked out so much better because they know exactly what they're doing and they're doing it really, really well. They're really well established. They've got a really good name in Hertfordshire and they're doing amazing things in the community. So it worked out really well. So that's pretty much how the business evolved. Like when I started, I had no idea what I really wanted to do. And just through the beginning thoughts, I think God sort of evolved it and moved it in a way that just worked out best for everyone. I think I couldn't have thought up that sort of plan. But obviously God has his way and things. He's just directed it and it's come out. And where we're at now, the way that we do it is just perfect. I mean, obviously, it's a good community feel. We do what we do well, and then we give to those who are doing the other side of things well.
So I think it's sort of like a common thing with entrepreneurs. You just have that, as you mentioned earlier, that nagging desire inside, but you actually don't know what it looks like. And then you do something, God intervenes, and then you realize that it's a better picture and even a way better plan than what you thought. And I think even now that you're supporting this organization, they're able to do even more than what you could have ever done.
That's spot on. That's exactly it. You know, it's like you say. I started off with just like a blurry sort of vision of what I wanted to do, but God had the details and I could never have imagined those details. And it's just worked out brilliantly. It's worked out so much better than I could have done myself, you know. So, I mean, when God gets involved with something, it's something awesome to watch unfold and to look back and just to see God's hand in things is just amazing. And it just really boosts your faith because I love it when God makes himself so real that you can see his hand in things, you know, it's not your plan that because you would have had no ability to plan something that well and it just unfolds beautifully. So that's how it got going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, really very encouraging. And I thought a lot of our listeners are probably in a similar season, you know, and I think you've established ServUCare at the height of COVID. And I know being in that industry wherein you're a new player, you're starting out and nobody actually knows you. I suppose because you were like very new to everything. How did you manage to survive that time as a business and how did you grow your business?
Yeah, when I did it, obviously, I literally resigned in COVID and people thought I was absolutely mad. If I thought about it too much, I thought I was crazy myself, you know, but it was one of those seasons in my life where I just knew that I knew that this was a God thing, which makes it so much easier because you've got so much peace about it. When you know that this is what God wants you to do, it makes things a lot easier. So when I resigned, I was obviously nervous and it was scary, but I just knew that this is what I had to do. So I had a peace about it. And then, in a sense, COVID actually helped me because everyone was home. And because everyone was home, everyone was noticing things in their home that needed repairs. They needed the gutter work done. They needed gutters cleaned. They needed windows cleaned. They wanted, garden maintenance done and this type of thing. So it actually played into my favor. So, yeah. And I mean, obviously being in a new country, not knowing how systems work, not knowing how pricing works, it kind of motivates you because you got to dig deeper than the competition. You've got to work harder because you're not coming from a place of knowing it all. So you really work harder, and it shows, I think, in the way that you do your work, in the way that you approach your customers. You're a lot more hungry. So you treat your customers, I think, a lot better than those that have a lot already. So it just gave me an edge, I think. And yeah, just doing those first customers, doing everything, making sure I did everything with excellence. I really wanted everything to represent the kingdom. And then it was just word of mouth, really. It just spread and spread. Yeah, I mean, it's just God's been good. I think mainly it wasn't because really of the work. I just think because it's a God thing, it succeeded. And the thing for me is just making sure that I keep it a God thing, that stays a kingdom thing. So that's just one of the things I always try and keep in mind, because once the business is up and running, it can easily you can be caught up in the numbers and it just becomes another business. But to keep going for the reasons that you started, not for the reasons of becoming profitable or becoming the number one in your area, is important. So for me, it's something that I pray about every day, is just keeping it the main thing.
Wow, that's amazing. And speaking of excellence, you mentioned that was sort of like your strategy, because you're the new player. You probably felt you were serving the people extra more than the usual. And that goes a long way, though.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really know how to explain it, but when those 5 customers of all you've got, you treat those 5 customers like gold, and it goes a long way because obviously it's word of mouth and the word spread, and you're doing a job twice as well as someone who's got 500 customers. So yeah, obviously when you start and you're hungry, and you can use that, you can really use that to just give yourself a head start because you're not as busy, so you've got more time to concentrate and to do something so much better than what you can do when you've got too many customers. You're too busy in a sense. So yeah, that's sort of, I think, what helped me at the beginning. Yeah.
So again, speaking of excellence, I think we can share this to our listeners that around this time that you were thinking about launching the business, we actually spoke, and you asked me to help you create, the brand, and we met a few times and we did the work. I'm just curious again, why did you invest in that process of like branding, and what has it done for your business in the season that you were in?
Yeah, the branding was huge. It really was big because I was starting, like we've just been chatting about. I started in an area, I had no contacts, I had nothing. I just started pretty much. So I knew that to get a head start, I knew that my branding needed to be good. I needed something that was going to make me look professional straight away, not like Dane's just started a business. So it was that. I knew of what I'd seen your work, and I knew your work was really good. And I really wanted to link up with companies that were kingdom-minded too. So straight away when I started the business, I knew I wanted to work with you. And the branding, the ServUCare branding, is probably one of the first things people have mentioned to me when they saw the vans driving around. They just saw, yeah, your branding really caught my eye. Your branding looks good. My friends always used to say, oh, your branding looks really good. So it was a major thing. It was a major help in getting the business going. It just, it took me from beginner, sort of amateur, and it made me look like 3 levels up straight away before I'd even gotten going. So it was incredibly important for the look and feel of the business, but also just collaborating with someone else that's also kingdom minded, I felt was really important, and that's paid off. I mean, I keep getting comments about the branding and so on. So yeah, it's been incredibly important. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I remember also that time when we were talking in COVID, and I'm like, wow. Now looking back, I'm like, that was actually a crazy time because I was also in a crazy, and I'm like, go for it, Dane, go for it. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know, Dane, if you remember, but was there anything in the process of that branding that you really appreciated?
No, I think chatting to you and just listening to your perspective and your ideas on different things really helped me think about the business a lot more, because you asked questions which made me think about what I wanted the business to represent and so on. So it really helped me think about the foundation of the business, the questions you were asking, when it was really good. So obviously I think we had 2 different names at the beginning, which we were going to and from. So yeah, I mean, just your insights, you obviously done this quite a bit. Your insight was really good for me to help me establish what I wanted from the business or what I wanted the business to look and feel. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember there was always, and this is part of our course that we teach people about, like the mandate scripture of the business. And I remember, I think the first question I asked you, like, okay, what do you think God is telling you about this business? And you're like, yeah, I know that God is speaking to me, but I specifically don't think because it's a concept that you don't really sort of explore immediately. So I think I remember I made you go and pray about it.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of homework, but which was good, because what it did for me was it set a good foundation for me to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. The questions you gave me, say in hindsight, was really good and really helpful, actually, to develop that foundation before I got going. So yeah, at the time I was like, man, I just want you to help me with some sort of branding. But it was good. It really was good. So I think the other name I had was either ServUCare or it was First. So yeah, it was good. It feels like a lifetime ago almost. Yeah,
it does feel, and I'm like, that's why I think it's good to share the story, because this happened not too long ago, and you started alone, right, in your business. And now, how many people do you have on your team?
So there's 7 of us at the moment, 7, sometimes 8, depend part-time. Yeah, so things have grown. I mean, it's probably just under 3 years that the business has been going. But, COVID's like dog years, it feels like 7 times. But yeah, things have grown, and things have grown fast, and it's been good, man. It's been really good.
Wow. And I want to conclude this episode with this question. You talk about moving countries and, stepping out in faith and building a business, a brand. And I think not everybody understands the journey that we're in. And sometimes we don't even understand ourselves, the path, the grace that we're walking in until we look back. My question is, what would you like your kids to remember about you when they look back one day and hear about the story of how you started ServUCare?
Wow, that's quite a tough one. I think it's funny. We had a small group the other day, and this is very similar to a question that we kind of asked ourselves. I think, if my kids can look back at my story, especially with the business, I think if they could say something like, sort of, I did everything because I was always after God's heart in everything I did. If they can see that I try to live my life following what I felt God calling me to do, live my life representing the kingdom in all that I do, whether it be work, whether it be just life in general, that would be amazing to me. There's that thing where David was known as a man after God's heart. And if they could look back and have that similar sort of thought about me, that would be amazing. That would really be cool. So yeah, I just want to be known for someone who just followed God's call on their life. So if I can achieve that, if I can represent that in some way, that'd be amazing, man.
Amazing. And Dane, thank you for inspiring us today. And you make it look so easy. but I'm sure it's not.
I'm glad it looks that way.
Yeah, but I think you do really represent the kingdom. And thank you for being real. And thank you for your obedience. I had a line earlier in my thought before coming on the show. I'm like, wow, like, how can cleaning windows really change your life? Hey, I think, it literally changed your life. And the future of your family, everybody, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and thank you, Norbert. I mean, the work that you do represents exactly what we do. You're just in a different kind of sector, but yeah, just thanks for being so involved. I mean, like I said, without your branding, without your input, without your thoughts, I don't think ServUCare would be where it is. So you've had a big part to play in that. I appreciate it, mate.
Wow, it's an honor, and appreciate you guys too. Okay, thank you so much, Dane. And how can people reach you, and how can they get in touch with ServUCare?
I think the best way is just to go to the website, www.servucare.co.uk. Just get in touch that way.
Yes, guys, you have to experience the excellence of this cleaning company. I just see the pictures and they look really, really amazing, and how much more the experience itself. So, yeah. Thank you, Dane.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Thanks so much. I'll chat to you later.
Chat soon.
All right. Cheers, Norbert.
Thank you for joining us. Today's podcast episode was brought to you by OwnNothingNonprofit.org.